Welcome to the Money Watch Show. It's Tuesday, August 8th, and we are here trying to help you make better financial decisions. Not the best, better is fine. I'm joined by Mark Talercio, the co-host, the executive producer of Everything in My Life, also a certified financial planner, as am I. How are you, Mark?
Doing well. I was just looking at the calendar. So we have this week and we have next week, and that's a wrap on the month.
Yeah. Goodbye, August. See ya. I'm also talking to you on a day where I cannot believe it, but I'm finally, because we pre-recorded this last week, but my windows are open. How long has it been since I had my windows open? I mean, what a beautiful time to be in New York, except when there's like smoky, hazy, horrible things happening.
We had like 3 days of what felt like hell, and then all of a sudden it started feeling like early September.
Yeah, and that's fine with me. I went into the ocean swimming. I will tell you that I kept my eye out for a shark because there have been a few shark attacks. I don't want to say that the shark was attacking. It was an incident. No one died.
There's a documentary that just hit HBO about, I think it's called After the Bite, and it's about Cape Cod and all the problems that they're having now with the great whites.
Oh, my God. I mean, a great white is for real. But, you know, these little other ones, they're not as bad. Anyway, I love the ocean. I'm a big ocean swimmer. I found out that Mark's not such a great swimmer. Just found that out recently. I was worried about you. I want you to take swimming lessons to get back on it.
I don't know. I've kind of, I've made it 45 years. I don't know. I think I'm okay.
Really? All right. I love it.
I don't like the water, the ocean. I don't mind being out on a boat. No problem with that at all. But I don't want to go swimming in the ocean at all.
You don't?
No, no desire.
It's so cool. Oh my God. It's like my happy space. I love it. And I'm the person who like goes way out, you know. By the way, also, I was one of those kids who was lost at the beach once because my mother was very busy in conversation. And when I was 4 years old, a lifeguard held me up and said, does anyone belong to this kid? Also, Mark, I saw the movie Barbie. Loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Cannot say enough fabulous things about this movie. I am I'm sunk in. I wore pink to it also. I got all into it. Very campy. I never had Barbies. I mean, I think I had like a Barbie van, but I was one of those kids who like, made Barbie do terrible things. Like, like what would happen if I like smashed her head off? Wouldn't that be fun?
We were in Brooklyn over the weekend, and I found myself, I was waiting for Amanda and Theo. They went into one of the stores, and I'm standing outside the movie theater, and I see all these girls. They couldn't, probably like 20 years old. They were just dressed up from head to toe in their Barbie outfits, taking photos in front of the movie theater, posing. I'm thinking, what in the world? Where am I living?
I mean, I'm going to send you a picture right now, and I want you to just react to that in real time. I just sent it to your phone. Tell me what you think. Stand by for this big reaction from Mark Talercio to the person with whom he's worked for almost 15 years.
Compared to what I saw on the street in Brooklyn, this is nothing. You have some hats on, some goofy hats, some goofy glasses, but that's okay.
All right. I'm glad that that's all you think. That's good. Anyway, it was fabulous, and everyone should see it. It really is fun. So I have to like really get my head on straight if I'm going to go see Oppenheimer. 3 hours. I don't know. You know what I could do for 3 hours? I could talk to you and our listeners. If you have a financial question, I could listen to you for hours and hours and hours on end. And all you need to do is go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, JillOnMoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. While you're there, I got a big announcement. This is like all in the tank for the family being CBS News. Guess who is our next guest for Jill on Money Live in honor of the kickoff to the NFL season? Nate Burleson, CBS Mornings host, the man who helps bring the NFL to your living rooms or your screens of any type every single weekend for CBS. Nate Burleson will be joining us on September 13th. Wednesday, September 13th, 7 p.m. He is going to join us to tell us about what are the storylines for this year's season. He's going to tell us about the business of sports, and he's going to talk about his absolute love of personal finance. He's so into it. By the way, he owns a little crypto, Mark. Just FYI. So if you would like to check that out, guess what you have to do? You've got to subscribe to Jill on Money Live. $35 for a whole year, and you get Nate. How about that? And you will also have access to more bonus content. Jill on Money Live, Nate Burleson, Wednesday, September 13th. I cannot wait. I love this guy. So check it out. All right. Today we are going to talk to Eric, who's on the line from New York City. Hello, Eric. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Tell us what we can do for you. What is the idea that we are going to opine over today?
So a bit about me. I'm a CPA. I currently work in private equity, and I was posed with an interesting opportunity for something that I never thought would happen, me going back into public accounting.
Ooh, that's exciting. I like when new opportunities come up. Now, are you happy in your private equity world?
Yes, I do the internal accounting at a PE fund.
So you're happy doing it. How old are you, Eric?
30.
30? You're so young. That's awesome. What's your path been to this place? How did you get into private equity?
I was in public accounting at a small CPA firm in New York City, and then I went to go work for one of my clients. Been at one big shop since then, and now been at my current role for about almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm. But you're happy. You're like, life's good. Like if you had to be there, this is a good place to be, right?
Exactly.
Okay, great. How much do you earn in this current place?
170.
And you, well, I know this because we spoke before we got online. You're married, right?
Correct.
Does your wife still work?
She's a teacher.
Oh, I love that. You know, I love her for her pension. And also, I'm sure she's very nice. How much does she earn?
A little less than 100,000.
Are you guys both putting money into retirement accounts right now?
I was up until this year. I've stopped all contributions to save for down payments. She is maxing out hers because she gets a little bit more of a guaranteed rate of return. So up until this point of my life, I was always maxing out my 401k. Mm-hmm. This is the first time I am not doing that.
How's that feel?
It was a bit, distracting. Well, I don't know if distracting, but worrisome at first. But the fact that I've already put, the maximum amount into money market accounts is a pretty interesting feeling.
Yeah. It's good to have that access to the money, right? It's like, wow, holy smokes.
The key is to, not spend it on candy, though, while you have it.
I know. So true. So how much money have you saved in the old, like all of your 401ks? What do you have saved in retirement assets?
About, off the top of my head, about me alone, I'm like 120,000. She's a little bit less than that. She's a lot less than that.
But I just want to make sure I understand. So she's part of the New York State pension system, right?
Correct.
So she's got to put her 8.25% in. And then in addition, she's doing the deferred comp, which gets a ridiculously high guaranteed rate, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
That's why I make sure I understood that. Is she a happy teacher? You think she's going to stick with it for a while?
I think she'd prefer not to. I think over the past 3 years, like everyone's job, teaching it's changed. It's not like when we went to school. It's basically a corporate job now. You get, she's got an email address, and I always say she deals with, 30 parents, where I only have one or two bosses.
Yeah, that's a lot. Okay, so I'm not going to count on her beautiful pension, even though I'd love her to continue at least for the 10 years to get
me too. And,
all right.
You got to remember health insurance also.
Yeah, lifetime, baby, lifetime. So talk to us about the money that you've been saving for a down payment. What have you accumulated for the down payment fund?
Currently, we have about 70,000 just liquid that we're hoping to use, but obviously prices continue to go up, and it seems to get less and less every day.
Do you think that you would like to buy in the city, or are you talking about suburban?
We're open to both if the right opportunities come up, but obviously, living in the city has its own challenges when when daycare comes into play. So ultimately, I think we'll end up on Long Island. Both of our parents are on Long Island. Mm-hmm. Hers are at retirement age. Mine are a few years beforehand. If
you were to look at what you would be facing in terms of prices for a Long Island house, what's the range that you're looking at?
Anywhere from 600 to 800,000, and obviously those $600,000 homes, they need work.
I know. I'm going to say 800 because who wants to work so hard? Okay. Any other assets that you guys have available to you?
I have a brokerage account of a little less than 100,000.
Okay, great. So you've done a great job. You're young. Is she also 30-ish? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's talk about the opportunity that has arisen.
Yeah, so I was with one of my good friends, good family friends, known him my whole life, back in around Thanksgiving time, and I jokingly said, I was like, how's your dad doing? Is he looking for any, junior partners? And he said he actually is. He runs a little basic mom and pop CPA firm, so 1040, 1065 clients, accounting clients as well. So I've met with him multiple times to discuss his business. And, now we're just kind of waiting to go over numbers and all that fine stuff. I have kind of a good idea, but haven't really fine-combed everything yet.
Okay, so here's my question to you. This guy is in his 60s. The way the deal might be structured could be something like you agree on a number, you have him work and do a transition period of some, whatever number of years. You then own the practice, maybe have an earn out with him for a little bit, but that, you would end up owning it let's say by the time you're 35, you've got this beautiful practice. Is that about right?
Yeah, more or less so. I would like to say I don't think he'd ride off into the sunset just out of his nature. His dad worked until he was 90, and I think it's just in his blood to, he's got some young grandkids. Maybe he just wants to work, 2 to 3 days a week, something like that.
All right. But you would eventually end up with this practice.
Exactly.
So the question you have is what exactly? What is it that we want to do for you?
So, while I'm kind of familiar with how loans work in general, I don't necessarily know how buying a business works. What would I have to do to, make it work from a financial aspect?
Well, okay. So there's kind of like the personal finance aspect. So here's the first part. The question starts to become, well, could I do this acquisition? And what would that mean for my aspiration to buy a place? Because my guess is it depends how the deal is structured. Because if you had a deal where he might say, the business is worth $1 million. I don't know what the business did in revenue last year, but let's just pretend it's $1 million. You're not going to pay $1 million, and you're not even going to finance $1 million. My hope would be that somehow you could say, okay, here's a good faith estimate of what we think this thing is worth. You have to agree on what the price is of what this business is really worth. And it may mean I'm going to put you in touch with someone who can totally help you out, by the way, someone who's in New York City who has purchased or looked at buying financial planning firms and accounting firms. So I know someone who can totally help you out. But the real question is, do I want to take this on now, which might preclude me from buying a home? And that's a question I'm going to put back to you. How would you feel if you had to delay buying a home as you get this deal done?
Yeah, no, I don't know. It would be something that I have to really talk through with my wife and say, is this something we want to do? And where would that put us? Would we have to continue renting? Would we move out to Long Island, leave the city, maybe move back in with our parents as we continue to save more?
Oh my God. I had like the hair on the back of my neck just went up when you said move back in with your parents. That's not a good situation. No. We're not going to do that. We're not doing that.
My parents, I could do.
Yeah, I get you. I think that there could be some interesting possibilities. It may not be either or. Because, when you look at a professional business like a dentist or a CPA firm or even a small law firm, what you're really talking about is the owner has all the equity, right? The owner owns this whole thing. Maybe this guy would say to you, like, I'll finance it. You don't have to go out and get a big, huge loan. Maybe what you would do is you would say, you know what? Over the next 10 years, here's how we could transfer this over to you. I'll be working, you'll be working. Instead of, blowing through all the money you have, that we could do a deal where he's basically holding back the paper for you. I don't know. Do you think this guy has real money or not?
Yeah.
Okay. So that might be something that's actually doable. So it's about structuring a deal in a way that doesn't blow up the rest of your financial life. And I think that there is a possibility here, but the professionals that you need are actually people who really understand, like, hey, how am I evaluating this business and what it's worth? And also kind of like what he's going to do. Because I'm going to give the emotional aspect. It might bum me out to have this guy stick around. Like he might be like the greatest guy in the world. He's your friend's father. And then like year 4, you're like, get out of here. I'm done with you. There has to be some sort of mechanism to get him out. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just saying that that's something to consider. I think that, like, depending on what this thing is really worth, I wouldn't want to see you blow through all your liquidity. And also, like, going out and getting a loan right now sucks because rates are so bad. So, I mean, I think that there could be a deal that would be made, but is he motivated, do you think?
I don't think he wants to just be out and done. So it depends on what we're talking about. Motivated, I think he'd really just love to transition and just, almost stay on payroll and collect his annuity for a while.
All right. Well, I mean, like, if you'd have to really get close with him and really get your arms around it. First of all, the good news is you're happy doing what you're doing. Number one. So if this all goes away tomorrow, who cares?
Exactly.
But in terms of doing a deal, I wouldn't probably go out and get a commercial loan for this deal. I would be much more, if he wants to stick around, then I think the price for that is he has to help finance the deal. And I think that's the way I would think about acquiring a business like that. I'm going to hook you up with somebody, though. I'm going to hook you up with somebody who can talk to you about this, who's got a really good sense of what these things are worth and has also really looked at the different opportunities for how to finance a deal like this.
Really appreciate that.
It's my pleasure. Mark, you've been very quiet. Are you a fan of this idea or not? Do you want him to stay in private equity, or you want him to be like a local, like Eric's CPA firm, and now we can finally have a CPA that we can refer people to in the New York metropolitan area?
Yeah, I would be all over it if I knew that the guy was going to eventually go away. But if he's going to be lingering around for X amount of years, for me personally, that would annoy me.
That's the one thing I'd say. The one thing that is sticking with me, like, is this guy going to just hang around forever? And it's not going to be a pain in the ass. Like, I don't know. I was just talking to my dentist who was retiring, and like, he did a great deal. He merged his practice with a younger guy and this guy's son, but they had like a 2-year transition period. And he said to me, I had to get out of the way, which I think could be the sticking point for me also, that if this guy's not going to get out of the way, you better really like him, or he gets to like fence off the 20 favorite clients he likes to serve, and that's it. And he's just, So the one thing I want to add is he has one other partner who has kind of already transitioned his practice to his son-in-law. And I've met them also, and they seem like great people. And, I think that's kind of what my proposal is kind of, what my guy is missing is he needs that young person to transition his business to. So Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, he's young, right? I get it. He's 67. It's nice. It's money. I built this up. But if he wants to make a deal and extract any money for this, then he's going to have to get out of the way.
Right.
And you're absolutely right. But it may be that once you have, look, if he's like real money here on the table, he might be like, you know what? 1 day a week, this many clients, like, let Eric take over, let Eric and this young guy. You're going to have to get really into these people though, Eric. We're going to talk about, like, it's not just a business deal. I'm going to give you the advice that someone gave me when I bought into a small business. And that is, it is harder to get out of these businesses than it is to get out of a marriage. Now, I've had 2 failed marriages and 1 business divorce. And I'll tell you, the business one was much more painful than the other 2. So you could take that with a grain of salt, but you're going to have to really get to know these people. If this thing progresses, I am telling you, like, this has to be, it is really a very big leap to get into business with somebody as opposed to just running your own shop.
How old is the other young guy? Is he your age?
I think he's like 36. He's got 2 young kids.
It seems like it could be a really good do, or it could be a complete disaster.
And that's kind of what I've been seeing, like, in my industry, we just hear about the accounting shortages all over. And I see it with my friends who are starting families, coming to their prime earning careers. And there's no people who are the young 30-somethings starting their own practice.
Exactly right. And it's the same thing in financial planning, by the way.
Exactly.
So the way that you would, I think the do is that you build up a practice like this, a CPA firm, and then you bring in financial planning, and then you've got everything under one roof, and you're now like 30-somethings who are dealing with people of your own age, growing a practice that way. And that to me is like the holy grail. All right, Mark. Well, if anyone out there is interested in getting into a small business, we're the place for you. I always thought it was interesting, Mark, that he was kind of happy in his career, but also said, hey, you know what? Maybe owning my own thing would be kind of cool. And it's kind of cool to say, I'll have control over something. Now you have responsibility also. So anyone who's a small business owner can tell you that it's not all, unicorns and rainbows. But even Barbie found that out. Unicorns and rainbows are very exciting, but it's not like that in the real world. So if you would like to talk through some of these issues, talk through big changes that you might be contemplating, go to the website, JillOnMoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. Mark Talercio is the co-host and executive producer, as well as the web king of everything Jill on Money. We're distributed by Paramount Global. We drop our episodes every Tuesday and Thursday. Lift someone up. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you on Thursday.